Hello students, welcome back to the materials for English 3 for Diploma 3 with me, Miss Mona Lisa Pasaribu. And for this week, week 5, we are going to discuss about the topic of operating system. So let us check the materials for this video today. So as you can see, there are quite a lot of discussions over the operating system, which is application, computer uses, desktop, which most of this we have covered from week 1 until week 4. So I reckon you've been equipped quite well for these types of discussion. Okay, now we will talk about the operating system. But first of all, let us have a look at the outline for this video. So very quickly, we will have a review from the material last week, and then we will discuss about the operating system, and then after that we will discuss about the language word, the ing form in subject and after preposition, and then we will have some practice. Okay, so let us have a very quick review. So, as a very quick review from last week's material, as you know, the topic was about the application programs, and then we were talking about how to give effective instruction, and then there's also a slide where we did discuss about how to simplify instruction. And I reckon with this question, how do we simplify instruction, I reckon right now you can actually answer this question. Maybe some of you have the answer of by linking two instructions into one, two instructions into one longer instruction. So this is one way of simplifying the instruction. Okay, and if you still have another way, you can also mention it later on in the practicum session. Okay, so we will now move on to the topic for this week, which is the operating system. Okay, now the operating system, I'm pretty sure that as an IT or computer technology student, you must be familiar with the operating system, or many books, or you must be familiar with this with the shortest version, which is the OS. Okay, so all the operating systems are the one that controls your PC or your laptop or your Android or your iPhone if you have one. Okay, so what are the operating systems that you know of, and then do you actually use them frequently, or do you not use them quite frequently? And then what do you use the operating system for? Do you use it for, browsing, or are you using it for managing a data or saving files, or etc.? Please let me know later on in the practicum session. Okay? And then there's also a question over here. What is the difference between the application software and the operating system? Okay, as you know, the operating system, now you know the examples of operating system, and I'm pretty sure that you're also familiar with the application software, like for example, I don't know, Gojek or Shopee and etc. What are actually the difference between these two? Okay, I'm pretty sure that you have the answer, so please let me know by posting your answer in the comment section in the YouTube by writing your name and then your student ID and then your answer. What is the difference between the application software and the operating system? So this is something that you need to finish after you listen to this video in the theory sessions, in the theory session period. Okay, next we move on to the operating system. So I actually have put the reading for today in cheese, So have a look at the reading for today, and then after that, what you need to do next, as usual, I'm going to give you questions, comprehension questions about the reading, and then there's also a matching for the readings for today. Okay, so there are 5 paragraphs, and I want you to match it with the main idea based on what you have read for today. So now we will see the grammar points of ing form in the subject position and after preposition. Now, as you know, the ing form, if you see another book, they can call it the gerund, okay, or the ing form, you name it. So right now we are using the term just the ing form, so that you understand that the ing form is the verb plus ing. Okay, so for the ing form, there are actually quite plenty of function of the ing form. Okay, so over here, the ing form itself is function as a noun. Okay, and the position of the ing form can be as a subject or an object, or also a complement of a sentence. Okay, so we will see one by one the function of ing form in the subject, in the object, and in the complement. So for example, in the sentence number 1, managing the computer's resources is an important function of the operating system. Over here, as you can see, the word managing is positioned as the subject. So managing over here is actually an ing form of the word manage plus ing. So manage plus ing is changed into managing, and this becomes the ing form as a noun in the subject position. So the subject position as a noun. Okay, now for the next one, for number 2, the operating system starts running the user interface as soon as the PC is switched on. Now over here, running is used to complement the word start. Okay, so therefore, running over here is used as an ing form as a complement, and then it's used as a noun. So noun as complement for this type of sentence. So to complement the word start, then you use the word run, or running over here. Okay, and then for the last one, another function of the operating system is executing and providing services for application software. And what about over here? For this one, this is the ing form as the object, and obviously this is the noun. So maybe some of you get a little bit confused. Miss, why this one is counted as an object rather than a verb? Because this one there is and there is also ing. Then what is it considered as? What do you call it? Continuous tense over here? Not necessarily, as long as you see the context. Okay, so have a look at the context first before deciding whether this one is actually an ing form or this is actually a continuous tense or present continuous tense. Okay, so that's the explanation for ing form as a noun in the subject, object, and the complement of a sentence. Okay, now we will go on to the ing form after preposition. So the ing form is used after preposition. This includes when it is a preposition and not part of the infinitive. For example, without the user being aware of the details, the operating system managed the computer's resources. Or this one, we begin by focusing on the interaction between a user and a PC operating system. So what we call by preposition over here is first this one, by, and then there's also without. And there are plenty more preposition, like for example before, after, in, at, etc. So after this, if you want to use verb, then make sure the verb that you are using is in the form of ing form. Okay, so for example, in, at, before, after, on, etc. Okay, so those are the examples of the preposition. Now we will go on to the next one. Okay, very quickly over here, this is the example of how to change a sentence that has no gerund or has no ing form, and we change it into the ing form. For example, an important function of the operating system is to manage the computer resources. Now, if you want to change it into an ing form, you can say, managing the computer resources is an important function of the operating system. Now, over here, managing conducts as the subject. But it is also possible if you want to change it as the object. For example, an important function of the operating system is managing the computer resources. That's still okay. Okay, so it really depends on the necessity or the need of changing it, whether you want to change it as a subject or as the object. Okay, so over here, if you change it to this part, is managing computer resources, then managing over here is considered as object. But if you start it with the word managing as the starting of the sentence, then that becomes the subject of the sentence. The ing form becomes the subject of the sentence. Okay, so I really hope that makes sense to you now. Now, something to note over here, the infinitive is required after certain verbs in English, such as agree, choose, claim, decide, expect, manage, need, offer, plan, prove, refuse, want, wish. So what does it mean by infinitive is required? It means like this. Okay, so you still can have an ing form for this word. For example, we are choosing, or I am claiming, she is deciding, we are agreeing to something. Okay, maybe not with the word need, want, or want, but after all of this, you need to follow it with the word to infinitive. For example, you say, we agree to decide. We agree to take an action. You cannot say we agree taking an action. Or for example, I want to buy something. You cannot say I want buying something. So all of these verbs must be followed by to infinitive. So to plus the verb. Okay, so that is what we call as infinitive required after these verbs. Okay, now there's also this one, ing form is required after these certain verbs. So this is the contrary of the first one. For example, object to, look forward to, pay attention to, take exception to take to, resort to, get around to, look forward to, contribute to, confess to, devote time to, and amount to, admit to, and admit to. Okay, so all of this must be followed by verb ing or ing form. For example, I look forward to seeing you. So you cannot say I look forward to see you, but I say I look forward to seeing you, because that is required in English. Okay, so that is the common rule in English, that ing form is required after these certain verbs. Okay, so this is like the exception for certain verbs like this. Okay, so if you find the word agree, choose, claim, decide, expect, manage, need, offer, plan, prove, refuse, want, wish, it must be followed by to infinitive. And then if you find object to, look forward to, pay attention to, take exception to, take to, resort to, get around to, contribute to, confess to, devote to, or amount to, and admit to, it must be followed by verb ing. Okay, now we will go on to the practice. Now the first practice that I want you to do is to change the to infinitive into the ing form. Okay, remember, you can always change it into the object or subject depending on the needs. And then when you think that it is also when you think that it is a complement to the verb before, then that is considered as the complement. So when you change it, you can decide whether it is a subject or an object or a complement to that sentence. And then for the second practice, what I want you to do is to check whether this sentence, the word that is in bracket, the verb that is actually in bracket, should use ing form or to infinitive. Remember, there is exception that I have shown you in the notes, so please take care, be careful when changing the verb into to infinitive or the verb ing. Okay, and then also pay attention to the preposition that we were just discussing about. So that practice will actually bring us to the end of this video. Next video we'll be talking about UI or GUI, graphical user interface, and then we'll be discussing another grammar points. Okay, if you have questions for this video, please let me know in the group or in the comments or through personal line. And this is the reference for this week's material. So finally, thank you very much everyone for listening to my video. I hope to see you in the practicum session, and please watch my next video. Thank you very much. I'll see you around. Bye bye.